We are going to bring up our next featured reader, C. Alan Rearick. I have had the privilege of knowing Casey, and it has been a privilege. For the same amount of time, pretty much, that I've known Dan, and excuse me for getting emotional, it's a rarity, but I've known these guys for about 5 years. And they truly are like brothers. And they both have had a tough last year. And well, I love you both very much.
Love you too, man.
And with that, I will just bring up C. Alan Rearick.
John and Michael for having me here, of course Alex. Honestly, I don't know this guy, so I don't know what he's talking about. That's all news to me.
Dirty son.
I love Dan too, love all those guys. I'm not really one for anecdotes, so I'm just going to read. First poem is Even the Clouds Were Silent Last Night. It's for my good friend Samantha. The stars burned the sky last night. We waited, speaking in stolen glances under pockets of darkness on my back porch. Our skin numbed and safe, the geometry of our words unharmed. 2 hours passed the time when the world did not end, only hung in the influx of imagination, augmenting silence across the footsteps of our lips. It's been so long since our compliments were as flawless, we said, so we held idly by, counting the pauses in each other's breath, lost track and laughed instead at each other's banal pursuits. Me, flirting with the answers of a crossword puzzle. Her, smoking a fine pipe of Chiba, as if it were early October in some Amsterdam speakeasy. Clouds of dun-drab broom as thick as funnels. The hours cascaded deeper. We agreed the anatomy of time to be safe from tabloid libels, not just tonight but for all eternity, and smiled, knowing too the night would not end if we never went inside. This one's called Standing Under the Sun. Quietness is the sound of grass hushing in the wind, a bird nibbling discarded breadcrumbs in the 8 a.m. Sunday morning sun as I write about places I've never been or seen. The taste of strong brewed coffee with too much sugar. Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer sprawled open like the prostitute's legs he depicts within those pages. A half-smoked cigar nestled in an ashtray flirting with my lips and lungs. The neighbors next door sleeping, fucking, snoring, tossing about in bed, dreaming of planets inhibited by garbage men who only speak a language understood by flies. All this in silence reverberating a cliche catchphrase. Good things come to those who wait. To paraphrase Arthur Rimbaud, in life we sleep, in dreams we live. But I'm still waiting for all those good things to come to me. Still waiting for the philosophy of dead poets. Still waiting with a shadow shaped like crooked sidewalk smiles as I sleep these dreamless nights away. This one's called Leesburg, Florida, August 2003. It's something about my grandfather's hands that makes me feel lazy. The way they talk of an undying love of labor. The way they move and toil in an unwavering, selfless manner. The way they guide my clumsy, benign palms along an aging plank of cedar to create a oneness within my old and youthful eyes that says I love you, without erasing an unwritten vow of 1950s manhood, which comforts the slow breathing in my heart to the point of breaking for fear I've grown too close.
You take requests?
Maybe a jukebox?
There's a poem in that book about sitting in a beat-up grape.
Oh, okay.
Pickup truck.
Could be that one. This one's called Inside of a Beat-Up Gray Van. Inside of a beat-up gray van, I sip my coffee, listen to Phil Collins singing on the radio. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I stared out the passenger side window. Darkness mounted darkness. It circled my eyes, fell flat into my palms where I held it as tight as a found lost locket. I thought about the time when I came home from the game after having scored what would become the winning touchdown. How life for me changed that day. The air was still, everyone's eyes focused on us. their breath a pollution of anticipation. The center snapped the ball. I darted from the far left side of the field towards the quarterback. He took 2 steps back, handed me the ball, and I rushed straight ahead, untouched like a parallel line in time, until the guard pulled, made a key block, and I cut perpendicular into the end zone. A simple play for a simple high school kid in what would become a complex world. I came home that day to dresser drawers strewn about the backyard. Everywhere shirts, pants, and socks. It was as if the grass, tempted by my parents' venomous tongues, had suddenly tasted the fruit of their hatred and realized its nakedness needed to be clothed. There was a calamity of noises, too. I sounded like crows squawking into flight, frightened by footsteps too heavy in a cornfield. Screams, yells, doors and cabinets slammed, my parents' voices raised like an angry mob hungry for war, out hunting the empty streets. So much unlike the roars and howls which had greeted me once I had broken a goal line's flame. I can't recall what it was that I thought about it all, what I did, said or had planned to do as I dumbly stood there, like an awestruck child watching bright flames dance across the building, crumbling under the weight of thick black smoke. But when it was, I realized love for my parents had failed. Looking back, there were feelings of hurt and betrayal, something hard spinning down to the pit of my stomach like 100 angels, wings torn and broken, falling from heaven down to earth. I try not to think about it, nor do I question who's to blame. It doesn't matter. In the end, we are all left with nothing but the night to hold on to. That place when the solitude of loneliness, we try to find the words that bear meaning. I'm going to change up the pacer. It goes from the humorous, a really short one. True story too. It's called The Face of Things to Come.
Yes.
My girlfriend rediscovered my dirty magazine. She cut out our pictures of my friends and I, only our heads. She taped them atop the faces of various unclothed women. She is comfortable with this. This pleases her. She believes I will no longer affiliate with intangible naked women. I love my new body. My friends have no idea why I call them so much. Now this one's called Revelations of a Small Town to Which I've Never Been. He lies in a hood sweat atop his bed, eyes closed, still awake and restless, and hopes the room, cold and empty on this, a dark December night, will disappear. The walls hold him numb. His breath, pale with anxiety, smells insomnia across the window's frozen panes as he goes over the night again and again in his mind. The tips of his fingers twitch. Stained with sin, they press into his mind the image of a young girl's supple thighs, smooth and whole. His hands hungry to unwrap her sex, forcing them open like a rescue worker's skilled hands applying the jaws of life to the compressed metal of a deadly car wreck. And for her, this is precisely what life has become. Down by the riverbanks, where after church every Sunday he'd catch crayfish, torture frogs and skip stones, he left her like a dying dog, half beaten, face shoved down his own shit to prove a point. On the other side of town, life will pause. A father's fist will splinter drywall as a mother's tears fall to break her like a spider web into 1,000 pieces. The cracks in their voices, a sound too heavy to describe. The boy's mother too will cry, not for him, but for a young girl's lost chance at life, normal and carefree. Cheerleading practice is canceled. Prom, driving lessons, the tall, skinny, blonde-headed boy with dark-rimmed glasses in the back of algebra class, with whom she shared her first kiss beside the hallway water fountain after class, no longer of strict importance. From a prison cell, his father, who once said, "Every whore deserves to die," will shake his head, disappointed in his son's weakness, his inability to finish the job. For me, life will continue, a constant reminder of hell and the things over which I have no control, and these, the revelations of a small town to which I've never been. Dan, Grover, Alex, they all know. I'm a recovering alcoholic, 10 months clean and sober.
Good job.
In the last 2 years of my drinking, I didn't really give a shit about anything or anyone, especially not writing. But 2 weeks into my sobriety, I started to write again, and it felt really good. And these are some of the poems that came out of it. This is called Day 13, first poem of sobriety. There is the sound of geese returning home from a fierce and brutal winter. I've been up since 7:30 sipping coffee, smoking a cigar and just listening. An hour goes by, and for once I am sober enough to understand what is happening around me. This is life as I once knew it. Somewhere someone is drunk or still drinking, talking absurd drunk philosophies that when he finally falls out, wakes again and reaches for the bottle will not mean a thing. And still the geese are honking in the chilly April air. I am sober another day, able to understand what is happening around me. The geese coming home. Yes, finally coming home.
All right.
This one's called This Place in Which I Used to Dwell. First a slap, then a retort. Get out of here, leave me the fuck alone. They are standing by the bar entrance, the beast and the harlot, drunk, arguing. The barmaid is God. She turns on the lights, announces last call. Everyone around worshiping her as she answers prayers, gives last rites. Gin and tonic, Dortmunder Gold, Jack on the Rocks, a DUI. A riot of laughter, catcalls, hoots, ignorance fills time. Crowds my ears, says this is where you once belonged. I can no longer hear what is being said between the two near the entrance. I don't need to. Their body language is enough to tell me what will happen next. More bear at home, waiting in a sad refrigerator. Slaps evolving into hard clenched fist. Holes in walls, judgment. Will stretched too thin, like elastic over razor blades. I can see it all, voiceless across their lips, wet with fear. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Babylon the Great, you are going to fall. How miserable to be them. How miserable to be anyone in this life. We're going to switch it up because I'm a little more less serious here. This one's called Sizing Up the Situation. At the age of 9, I did not know what sex was. Did not yet have an urgent need for it. Did not know that a man's penis, when long and erect, fits smoothly and enjoyably into a woman's soft and warm vagina. Nor do I believe the other boys with whom I compared my dick behind a cluster of neighborhood garages knew either. My participation was limited to once out of sheer embarrassment for my inability to measure up. The other boys who would often explain the joy of and the eventual addiction to jerking it off continually evaluate their cocks against each other, as if, with each comparison, their dicks would grow to be as big as California redwoods. Now, standing here in my bathroom, my dick in hand as I twist and fumble it around, I do not know what they or I were trying to accomplish. Perhaps it was a sort of initiation into manhood, a bellicose competition with the only real reward being that of bragging rights. The kind of rivalry you had as a child with your brother, when your mother with a pencil would mark on the door jamb to record each other's height progression. Though, if on the garages there are marks documenting penis lengths, I'm pretty sure by now the rain or snow have long ago released them away. Either way, I stopped fumbling around with my penis, put it back in my boxers, pull up my pants, button and buckle them, knowing despite my inadequacies that day behind the garages, in the long run, I'm the bigger man for having the balls to admit it. This one's called A Tribute to the Ugliness of American Beauty. When that night the rains came down like parishioners looking to heal the damned, darkness clung hard to the roofs of his parents' mouths. Words, crowded with an alphabet of loss, spelled out a silence only the dead could understand. They kneeled, bent over in prayer on snow-covered ground at the foot of his grave. Vertebrae snapped by emotion, like flowers arched perpendicular by wind. Every breath laden with the reincarnation of his death. For far too long, his life had walked on pins and needles. Strangers called him faggot, said he was worthless, pointed, laughed, called him pussy, said look at the freak. So he cleaved himself into the darkness for fear of becoming it. He was found cold and pale, face up on his parents' kitchen floor. His arm, a suicide note of Braille, written with a spoonful of God's medicine, boiled under a hot sun. In awkward perfect grace, he created a beautiful apocalypse, a final act of art, a tribute to the ugliness of American beauty. His memory will live on, pushing through the seasons to punish those who have come to love him. Tomorrow will hold him the perfect architect of death. The roses on his grave will not survive the winter. fallen dead in China from an earthquake, and I'm 30 today, lying in bed. My dog is next to me, licking himself. I am text messaging, smoking a cigar. When my father turned 30, the neighbor bought him a shirt which read, 30, dirty, and short. One of the few things from my childhood I can recall, or want to. My neighbors bought me a cake, complete with 30 candles and old man scrawled across it in delicious pink frosting. I would rather be turning 18 again, eating a bucket of chicken on Rachel's mom's porch with my future roommate Rich, and chasing girls, the ones in short jean skirts, t-shirts bulging, begging to be gawked at, curves as loud as their rejections, hair dyed pink, blonde, green, studded bracelets on their wrist as if anarchy was something more than another word for fashion. The ones I never caught but always wanted to marry. Now there are no more girls. There is no one. Only the ugly plainness of my hands brushing through my thinning hair. Light brown follicles falling into shapes and names of friends, dead, drunk, or dying. I no longer want to be. Onto my bedsheets, unwashed, sleeping turned away with the memory of youth's contour, silhouetting in its creases as I wait for this Wednesday night to melt into my bones and carry me through tomorrow. This one's called Wide Awake on a Sunday Morning. Poor, in need of money, she moved nomadically motel to motel, recklessly sleeping with any man her black fishnet stocking could snare. Her thighs as thick as sinner's guilt, lips red-ribbed and pouty, driving all the men wild. Their once limp cocks, now flushed red with life, brought back from the dead sea of masturbation and worn-out old housewives, unattractive, too tired and fat to create small miracles. The men pandered to her, bought her gifts, Chanel No. 5, sexy little things by Victoria's Secret. They bowed down to her as if she were the second coming of Christ, and maybe she was. One night she was found face up, gutted and splayed, nailed hard on a bed, body dug into deeply, not with a cock or lust, but a hunting knife, serrated and sharp, something with which to gut a pig. All the time agreed her eyes were filled blankly with what she deserved. Said one woman, she had a disease. She didn't die for our sins, she died for hers.
Yeah. Yes.
Or something depressing. I know you don't have a lot of those, but they're.
No, I really don't.
What are you talking about? He's sunshine. Look at it.
That's juice.
No, he's a sunset.
You smiled when you said depressing.
Fun stuff.
You're meant to be like a 14-year-old goth girl, Casey, inside.
I really am, though.
I think so.
This one's called "The War Goes To." She does not like the fact that other women love my poetry. Is a man a traitor to his lover because another woman loves his words? This, the dishes, the drinking, the taking out of garbage we argue over. Things I think we bicker about just to hear ourselves communicate. In bed at night, we pretend to get along. Talk of gardening in the coming spring, yoga in the winter, lessons in ballroom dancing if we ever have the time. We want to be happy, and love like handsome Hollywood couples, holding hands and smiling all the time. But I'm in love with words. I am, line break, alliteration. She believes this to be a problem, blaming Shakespeare, my indifference for her failed attempts at leaving. Ask what it is exactly other women see in my words. Nothing, I tell her. The words aren't real, merely fabrications created to discourage silence, like a bomb being dropped in times of fear, trying to discover what is wholly tangible. She does not understand, just says I love you and kisses me on my cheek. I smile confidently, thinking of Shakespeare's words. All the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. And if so, then surely she deserves the Best Supporting Actress Oscar for her role in this dysfunctional relationship.